Crash Clinic, good evening, welcome. Here we are again. Another week has flown by, of course. It's been a busy week. I've had a crazy busy week. I'm sure you guys have too. Tim Kelly is going to be on the show again tonight, so looking forward to that, of course. He was here a couple of weeks ago and we had a nice in-depth chat, a bit about the industry, of course. So he'll be here again in a bit, and I'm just going to sort of run you down a few things until he comes in live. Well, Crash Clinic is growing faster and faster, of course, which is fantastic. What we do need is we need to get some more people paying subscriptions, of course, because what I want to do is bring you more content. This is Crash Clinic is the repairer social network for us. It's for all of us. It's not just for me. It's for everybody. I'm here leading it, of course, to try and bring us together so we can constantly grow and get stronger and better together. Obviously, we're going to keep informing you about that each week, trying to let you know what it's all about. We've got some great changes coming. The app it is ready, but we're actually just implementing at the moment a new search facility for repairers. So we're pretty good with our SEO. So what's actually going to happen? All the members of Crash Clinic, we'll in with your subscriptions, you'll be getting your own company found on Google, of course, because we will be promoting via the SEO through Crash Clinic and Crash TV your company. So if people are searching for a repairer in your area, we will be giving a great write-up about your company, of course, and you will be coming up in the search engines. So the way search engines work, a lot of you probably know, the more you spend, the higher up you're going to come. So as an individual business, it can cost a lot of money. You can get a lot of things wrong. We're going to be doing that for you as well. So that will also get you work. So that's going to be a fantastic tool, of course. Once that's finished, because we want it to be able to show a bit about your body shop when people search, it will come up and there'll be a nice little advert there about you. And a little bit from us saying, you know, we reckon you're part of the Crash Clinic network as a recommended repairer. So that's a bit of good news coming soon. Once that's finished, we can then launch the app, which I'm really looking forward to, because the app, of course, is going to keep us mobile, where we can talk all day long, all night long. We can have discussions within the Crash Clinic. So it's behind closed doors, if you like. You can't see any of the content unless you're a member. So once you're a signed up member, you can share the content. You can then join groups. And in those groups, you can still be a member, but you might not be able to get part of those groups. So there's only certain groups. You can create your own groups, and then we can have real, high level discussions about the industry, which we all know is needed more than ever. The industry at the moment, there's lots of talk about what's going on, what's happening. We know there's lots of changes coming. Are we going to sit around and watch it happen and let other people change it for us? Or are we going to come together on Crash Clinic, the repairers network, and we're going to make these changes together? I know I've already started it and I think it's great. I'm having some fantastic conversations with people. And again, what I want to do is get the more people that can start joining and start the subscriptions, I can start to get somebody to run this website for us, because that's where we're going to start having more content, more up to date with things. And this site can really start adding some work to us, really. So Tim, I have sent it you via LinkedIn and by Facebook. Let me know if you can't. There should have been a Facebook link gone to you, my friend. Let me see. So Tim's trying to come in at the moment, so I'll just finish off with that. That's some great news, of course. And I'll just run you by a couple of things this week. The polls that we put on are very important. They're showing us some great information. I'll start spreading the news, or the info. Start spreading the news. I'll start sharing the information with those, of course, very soon. Because they're showing some fantastic information. You've probably heard me talk about the matrix. The matrix is going to be everything to do with repairers. I've already started preparing it. Everything that we charge and how much do we charge. What I want to do is send this out to our network, and our network can then fill in the chart as well. What I want to do is come back to us all with a report. So this will tell us what charges you're getting per insurer, what fees you're getting, what things you're charging for. Even me preparing this, I found out there was a couple of charges I wasn't charging people. So I'm going to get a matrix out that everybody gets a copy of. You can all check it. Are we all charging? Are we making sure we're charging enough? Labor rates, Teddy Swann, of course. Everything to do with the repair network. So we want to know, are we charging the right? Who's charging what labour rates in what areas to what insurers, and how much are you actually getting? Have you sent me the link to YouTube? Right, 2 seconds, matey. I'm just going to try and share the link with Tim, of course. So please bear with me while I just do that. John, I'll give me 2 minutes, my friend. I'll send it you on Messenger if that's okay, Tim. So it will be in your Messenger. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, oh, you're in there. So it should be there, guys and girls. Sorry about this. Only be a couple of minutes. But yes, we're obviously talking about sharing information, because information is the key part to us. Sorry, I showed you the wrong one. Now you got the right one there, Tim. Big apologies, my friend. So yeah, obviously we need to share information. Information is key. Information is what's going to make this work for us. We need information. There was a couple of charges we haven't been charging. And there's also a charge which I was quite shocked at that we found. We are charging it, but one of the work providers, I'm not going to give names away, of course, is taking a BSI fee off us. You guys might have the same thing, of course. I think that's outrageous, but these are things we're going to come to again later down the line. But this matrix is just, it's great to look at, great to make sure what we're charging, what we're not charging for, etc. That's going to help. But more importantly, what I want to do is I want to know what we're all charging for rates around the country, what rates we should get for everything, basically. What rates are you getting for recoveries, per insurer, labour rates, what fees you're getting for ADAS, you know, all the other things that we all want to know. It'd be nice to know where we're based. Can we get some more money? Can't we? We're in tough times at the minute, guys and girls. Method charge. Yes, it's the method charge they take. There we go. There's a method charge that we pay for, we get. Don't start me on that one. Anyway, there's also somebody fantastically sent me another letter. I posted a letter not too long ago, and on the letter, and obviously it was to a customer, and I thought it was absolute disgrace what the customer had done. But here is another letter, and so if anybody gets these letters in the group, please send me the letters, because I've been able to share this letter. Read this letter myself, and there's a lot of things in it that I think are really bad. I'm going to go over the letter, and I won't name insurers, but that's probably going to be for next week. And what I'm going to do is show you, I'm going to prepare a letter that I think we should be sending out to our customers that basically is going to negate, I'm not going to show you who the letter's from, but it's going to negate a lot of the things they're saying that I actually don't believe are correct. A lot of things that I really believe they probably shouldn't be saying in their letters that they're sending to their customers. So if there's any letters that you guys get from insurers to your customers telling them they shouldn't use you, any kind of things that's negative, please get me a copy of it. Delete the customer's details. I just want the letter, but I'm going to write a letter back that I think we should all be using, and we should all be sending to our customers to inform them about their customer rights and what they're entitled to. That's something, again, that I think will be a massive benefit to us. The new matrix, of course, is something I think is going to be fantastic, so can't wait to get started on that. I want to please let me know if you want a copy of it, because the more of us that fill that in, the more information we've got, the better that's going to be. There's also where am I? The repair search I've told you about, and the charges, the BSI fee, and the letter to customers. Brilliant. That's what I just wanted to start tonight with that. I'm going to bring Tim in now, of course. So hello to Tim. Hiya, Tim. How are we doing?
Yeah, not so bad.
Good, man.
Mentally busy as usual.
It's what's already been cooking.
Well, yeah, I've been cooking as well, actually. Well, I stink of garlic. I've just been doing a spaghetti bolognese then, so. But I cook it from scratch, so yeah, loads of onions, loads of garlic, and a stink.
Lovely. Can't beat it.
How are you?
I'm all right, matey. Thanks, pal. Obviously been very busy this week. Got lots going on. With Crash Clinic, I've had a lot of conversations this week with a lot of people, so it hasn't left me too much time to do things. And is what I've just been saying to people: the more people that join, and we can start to get subscriptions, it's going to help me to get somebody in to run the site, because I want to do, things are probably a little bit more important. I've started running some polls, which I think have been very interesting in it. It brought me up to one, because I put a poll out to say, people that are joining in now, this is a repairer network for us all to talk. And what I found is that on the polls, I asked if people would be prepared to talk and be involved on social media, on the platforms, to talk about the industry. Now, I've had a lot of phone calls with quite a lot of repairers, quite a lot of different people, and the polls actually said that they were happy to talk. When I actually spoke to the repairers, they were very frightened to actually talk. They actually stated that, yeah, I'm happy to talk, but I don't really want to go on social media and say this and say that in case it affects my work providers, my work. I don't want insurers to fall out with me, blah, blah, blah. Which actually led me to believe, to realize that there's another issue that we've got in the industry, because I went to a show. It was December at some motorcycle museum. I haven't been to one for a long time. And I sat and watched, just sat at the back, kept my mouth shut, just watched. Repairers got up saying how bad the industry is, and insurers got up and said how bad the industry is. But they actually went around all the issues. And it's now made me realize that, speaking again, these polls really help from people filling the information in, of course. But repairers are terrified to speak. Something that I'm absolutely blown away by, and I don't know why repairers are scared to speak. So if anyone's out there, obviously I want your comments. I want you to drop me a line, send me a message separately if you like, because I'm really shocked that repairers are scared, and I don't know why they're not. Because for me, this Crash Clinic isn't about just sitting here and ripping into insurers every week. It's about trying to fix problems. But one thing I do know is if we don't discuss the problems, how are we going to fix them? And I think that's what's gone on in this industry for so long. We just go around the problems. And so I'm sitting there trying to put it out to everybody who is watching and this. Drop me a line, send us a message. If you don't want to comment on this because it's on various social media, please remember that when you join Crash Clinic, it's hidden. Only people who have joined Crash Clinic can see what we're talking about. So people haven't got to be quite so scared. We've got a lot of issues we've got to fix. And without talking about them, it bothered me because I thought people are really, really scared. The conversations I'm having are really in-depth and really nitty and gritty, and they're terrified to speak. So please get in touch, guys, if you're not terrified to speak. But obviously, that's the whole idea of Crash Clinic. We are a closed doors website. Once you've joined, you probably notice when you go onto the website, you can't find any content because you have to be a member. And that's why. So we can talk about stuff. So that's just something I wanted to get across there to everybody. And again, please join. Please send me some messages. And we need to discuss problems to fix them, don't we, Tim?
Sure do.
It just shocked me, to be fair, mate. I was really, really shocked. So I want people to come forward. People are starting to send me letters, which is great, from insurers to their customers. So I'm getting lots of content that we're starting to work on. And over the next few weeks, there's going to be more and more things happening. So, yeah, it's been a great, great week for Crash Clinic. Again, don't forget to go to www.crashclinic.com. Sign up. There's a free version, of course, until we get this going. You're happy to start paying. The sooner you start paying, it's only a minimal fee, and it's going to help us. One, it's just going to help fund the site. And two, I really would like to get somebody in to start giving you content all week instead of just on a Tuesday night. That said, we're going to bring Tim in. Now, Tim has obviously got something that we're going to discuss again, which is the Tim, far away. Tell me what it is. It's called the
Dunning-Kruger effect.
The Dunning-Kruger effect?
It is. And what it relates to is basically competence and people's ability. So the people who think they actually know what they're talking about are very, very confident until which point they have to do it. And then they realize it's a lot more complicated than what it initially thought it was. And then at that point, the more you think you know, the less you actually do know. And then you realize what's involved with it. And then basically, as you go through that curve, you get more competent, more confidence in your abilities. And then you start becoming an expert. And then ultimately, you know.
And who would you aim this at, Tim? Would this be sort of new repairers, media, what kind of level?
So this relates to everything. So this is basically business. It's you as a human being. Because what it's about is actually how you learn and how you accomplish business. But the specific thing I want to do it to tonight, because like the Dunning-Kruger effect is a really interesting thing. It's about competence, and first of all, having no competence and thinking you know everything, to then realizing that at the point when you start achieving competence, you realize you didn't know anywhere near as much as what you think you should have done. And the concept I'm trying to bring it into with tonight is about pricing. So one of the things that I've seen across various forums is the competence that's lacking with repairers is that confidence of knowing what should I charge for a job. And the parallel I want to kind of bring into it is that it's always about threading the shed down the road can do it cheaper, and I'm scared of losing that job. So the specific thing I'm going to go cover tonight is about having confidence in your own abilities, being aware about what competence it is and how you value it,
Yep.
but also what lack of confidence can do in affecting your pricing, and then also how customers perceive that. And just kind of giving some examples about it as well, because there's parts of it that come into kind of marketing where you can see this is evident. And one of the best examples I've ever seen for it was Stella. Yeah. And it's that thing of knowing where if something's expensive, generally it gives people confidence in what they're buying. Or, you know, rather than buying something cheap and going, oh, I don't know if it's going to last or not because it's cheap. And it's about instilling that message across to your prospective customer. And where do you want to fit in your marketplace? And this also comes down to things like understanding your business, what planning have you done for your business. Yep. But the primary side of it is about, before you even get to point of price in a job, it's about your marketing. And if you're fighting over work and you're scared of losing it to somebody else, then what you're basically doing is you're bottom feeding. You're actually kind of fighting for work with other people at the bottom of the marketplace, where if you'd actually planned what you were doing and you were marketing for specific people, it could be that you're targeting a completely different marketplace and working on the basis where you charge more for your services, spend half as much time doing it, you're charging more for it, and you get a better clientele and, you know, less stress, basically.
Well, this is a lot. That ties in quite a lot with what I was just talking about earlier with the matrix. The matrix that I'm trying to do is I want to go over a pricing guide of the whole, everything to do with the repair center, to give them that confidence to sort of have a matrix to look at and see if we come together again. It's all about this industry coming together, and the matrix the aim of what I want to do is bring all this pricing scheduling for people all over the UK. It's just down to recoveries, down to, you know, ADAS. What are people charging? What aren't people charging? Is there anything we're missing? Is there any? I found out, funny enough, and I've been here for 33 years. I'm just going over the matrix myself. Suddenly gone, am I charging for that? So I've made a quick phone call, and my brother's just put it in there, and he said it was the methods charge. No, it wasn't the methods charge. Sorry, there was. That's what we found out. That's one work provider was taken off us, which was quite shocking. But there was a charge there that we hadn't been charging, and we're just going to implement it now. Now these 30, 40, 50 quids per job can be a lot of money. But again, it's knowing what we can charge for and having that confidence to sort of put it onto the invoice and say, well, look, sorry, we're going to have to charge for that.
See, the thing is like, this is something as well that kind of, it's off on a tangent for what I'm going to go through tonight with, but in terms of things that you can put down an assessment, ultimately it's your business. You decide what you stick on it, nobody else. Simple as that. Yeah. So when people say, well, I'm not sure what can stick on it, it's like, well, I stick everything on it. So and what you've also got to realize as well is that the way the whole insurance industry works and operates is designed for their benefit, not for yours. So if you go back 40 years ago, you'd have an engineer coming down assessing in your body shop, which is what was covering the other week when we was on. Yep. Those things changed going through the 70s and 80s, and you saw the spread of having a approved repair network. And then at that point, you might have had a network manager. You might have had every job engineered, perhaps not. And then as it's then kind of got bigger and bigger, it's become harder and harder for insurance companies to manage. And it's at that point you get into kind of a real macro engineering system or micro one, whereas they're either sticking you through where you're below a certain threshold, or they're analysing absolutely everything you want to do. Now, all they want you to do is substantiate what you're doing, and hence then you like, can we have more images? Can you do this for us? Can you provide your parts invoices? Well, these aren't things where, and again, it's something I was discussing on a group just literally the other week, which is why it's kind of fresh in my mind. Yeah. If you strip out all of these things that insurance companies want you to do, and you just got down to the point of like, if you was fixing a car, so it came in, forget the insurance company, they're paying you for the job. What would you need to do that job? And then what additional is it that you do to deal with an insurance company? Now, in my eyes, if it benefits the insurance company, you doing these additional things in your process, i.e. supplying parts invoices, substantiating when it came on site, when it didn't, and looking at your customer services, and what software you're using to kind of manage your customer flow coming in and going out, and what booked in and what's booked out, and who's booking it in on the job, and who's working on it and who's not, and then your best 10125. All of these things are friction for a repairer. Now, if those things benefit an insurance company, charge for it. So if I had an insurance company saying, well, I don't believe, Darren, that you did this additional work on this car. Can we see some extra images of it in when it's rubbed down, or it's in primer, or it's in or it's in bog before you flat it down? Can we want to see how many hours of labour you got on it? I'd go, yeah, it's £5. No problem. I'll do what you want me to do, but I'll charge you for it. And it's only at that point when, if you start causing friction back to insurance companies, so what you don't do is say, no, I'm not doing it, because you still want to work with them. But what you're saying is that within how you're authorised with that work, you're authorised for the labour working on the car, not for the admin. And they'll say, well, your labour rate should cover your admin side of it as part of how you do your operational costs and everything else. You go, yeah, I agree, but you don't pay us enough, so I can't. So every time you want me to do something, because you've already took our labour down as far as we can, I'll charge you for that individual thing. And same again where, say, for example, you put an assessment through and the engineer changes it. Every time you need to basically compare your audit assessment and then reinstate it back to how it was, I charge them 25 quid a time and go, you're making me do work here that I didn't need to do because you shouldn't be changing my assessment. The same with supplementaries. So I'd be saying anytime they're actually asking you to provide an extra service which benefits them and not you, charge them for it, charge them an admin fee.
I think we're going to find in the next, it's got to be this year and the next coming months, because the way inflation's gone anyhow, we all know as repairers, we have to start doing something soon. We have to start putting prices up somewhere. And that's putting prices up without, I mean, for me, what I'm trying to do with the matrix, just like you're saying, is to make sure we're just charging for everything for a start. And then we've got to start putting prices up. So I think this year is going to be a bit of a nitty gritty year with insurers, because they aren't going to want these increases. Of course, they're not, but they're inevitable. I think everyone has to, understand that life has just gone through the roof. I put on last week 23% on just on my Spirit Wipe. It's like that's 23%. That's a huge increase that we can't absorb. So we have to, with the matrix, make sure that we're charging. My aim is for the matrix to get everybody to put out the basic charges and sort of put out what they're getting at the moment. But I also want to do a matrix, which is what everybody thinks that we should be charging for, the stuff we're not charging for. And I want to really try and get into it from everybody to come up with different things. And like you've just said there, certain things we're all, we're not charging for, and to see where we can take it, because I think there should be there's a matrix at the moment, which is out there. We need to find that out ourselves. How much are we getting from insurers? Not the bullshit figures. And then we need to put a figure down that we really believe we should be charging. And I can't wait to see the difference in what repairers sort of say. One repairer say, these mechanics charging, some of them are charging £105 an hour just to put a little, not half as skilled as what we're doing in repairing accident vehicles. It's double the rate, and insurers are happy to pay it. Why? Is it because they can't bully them? I don't know, but there's, like you've just said, your worth. We're not charging them kind of figures, and this year is going to be a bit of a bugger because the inflation's here as well. So this is going to, we're not just, we're fighting, we've always been fighting for increases anyway. And now we've got inflation that seems to be going through the roof. This is, wow, it's going to be an interesting few months coming up, isn't it? I think
it's also thinking there's a capacity crunch coming. And you've got, and certainly in light of the bad weather we've had with the storms and the snow and everything else, that I know some repairers where, and this is also happening on the credit hire side of it, because there's a lot of credit hire companies that are trying to push repairers to repair these cars first. But the issue then being that there's a lot of parts non-availability, which is causing issues. Parts and that whole thing then is getting circular. But I then know that there's a lot of repairers that have got work coming out of their ears. Yep. But they're still charging crap rates. And yet, so there's enough work for them for like easily the next 6 months, but they're still kind of getting crap rates on it. And it's like, well, at some point, somebody needs to be kind of going like, right, hang on, the wrong people are steering the ship here. And, this is my ship, and yet there's an insurance company steering it. It don't quite work out. And I've done quite a number of things in terms of business-wise and looking at operational cost and where your profit should be. And as a general idea for everybody who's got their own business, and to give you an idea of what your profit ratio should be, you're looking roughly about 2.5%. So if your break-even rate, as an example, is 20 quid an hour,
that's for the body, because I did a little network, a little research on that in the UK. Just what the average business should be profiting.
Yeah, this is business, not even body shops.
The average was 10% to a business is what they're saying you should be returning in this industry.
Yeah, that's your profit. But I mean, what I'd be doing with it is it's not necessarily in terms of percentage return, but I'd be looking at like multiplying your labour rate basically by 2.5. So if your break-even rate is all your operational costs together. So by the time you paid all your staff, paid all your bills, paid all your rent, you know what your operational cost is for that month. Divide it by the amount of hours in your month. That then is your break-even rate. So say, for example, it's 20, 25 quid. Really, where you need to be a productive and profitable business is 2.5 times that. So at 25 quid, you really need to be around the £75 an hour mark, £80 an hour. So when you've got these businesses working at 30 and 35, it's no wonder that your profit ratio is at 2%. And when you look at over the last 5 or 6 years and some of the larger groups, and the reason why these larger groups can operate like that is basically because of the scale of the capacity that they've got. They can put more throughput for it. And when you start putting tons and tons of like jobs through, and you divide it by the amount of staff, basically those staff are then helping you multiply that kind of labour. So if you've got a staff member paying £15 an hour, and each member of you've got 10 members of staff to make it easy, and you're getting 35 quid an hour, each member of staff making you £20 an hour, then you can see why these larger scale businesses are still managing to make a profit. But even then, when I've looked at past figures, they're only still making 4 and 5%. It's not, it's not big. So
they've got the different benefits from us. They've got group buying power. They've got, I know, like now, let's face it, if you look at all the bigger groups, they're all jumping on the bandwagon of having their little training centres. The training centres are government backed, government funded, so they're making a lot of money out of. It looks like they're doing these great things, but in reality, my own opinion, of course, they're making money out of this because they're being given grants to do it all. So there's other areas where it looks like, because let's face it, it doesn't matter how many training centres you put on, these kids are going to come out of school, probably go out of college and do a training course and still go, well, actually, I can go and earn more money driving a vehicle. So thanks for the training, but I'm off. Yeah. We're still not hitting the problem, which is there's not enough money in the industry to sort this out. I saw something last week, one of the groups had put down that they're still looking at computer systems, doing things faster. And how fast can we go with computer systems to just because we earn so little money? I mean, I understand in Amazon you've got to try and get as many down the conveyor belt, parcels out, but this is repairing a car, and we're still.
There's a falsehood in the industry. It's always been there, and it's always been driven by insurance company. And the falsehood is that repairing cars is a production line, and there's been that endless target of we need to do it quicker, faster, more efficient, reduce the key-to-key time, and it's like. Yeah, but that might benefit an insurance company. And the only reason why they want to do that is to reduce the claim cycle from the insurance company's claim. So from its opening up to its shutting, the least time that claim's open, then it reduces their operational cost. Basically, it's their combined operating ratio. So every pound they get in, it's the pound they spend. So if they can reduce the amount of money they spend on that claim, it saves them money. But what they're doing is they're offsetting that onto repairers, making you buy all the investment in different, infrared technologies, quicker drying, stuff like that, so that you can get quicker throughput. Faster. Yeah, but it benefits them. Yeah. And it's like, ultimately, and it's, yes, the more efficient you are, the more work you can do, the more profit you make. But there's much simpler ways of making more profit, and it's called you charge more money. Yeah. You don't need to be mega efficient, mega quick. You just double what you charge. Yeah. And it is quite literally simple as that. So what's gone wrong in the industry is that the repairers as an industry have let insurance companies take control, and it's kind of gone too far biased in that direction. Yeah. What you need to then establish as a repairer is what is it you want to do. So fundamentally, you're in business to earn profit, not to repair cars. And if you're in business to repair cars and you want to do it for insurance companies and make a living in it, then you might make a living in it for a short amount of time, but at some point you'll go bust because you'll give all your profit to insurance companies because you'll give it away on your labour rate, you'll give it away on your paint materials, you'll give it away on your parts, and the way they are now pushing for use of like second-hand parts being used as well. They're even taking away where you can buy your parts from. Come on, they're green. Train. Yeah, they're don't even start me on that. That just winds me up. Yeah. But it's it's all like a profit. So what you got to then think of is like, right, what am I doing? Am I working for an insurance company, or am I operating a business that I can pass on through my family or give me a certain type of lifestyle? Yeah. And this doesn't actually even just relate to body shops. It relates to any industry, any business. Yeah. You need to be in it to make profit, Because if you're not, and it's something I say a lot, if you're not in business to make profit, you've got an expensive hobby. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And what I'll cover on this side of it is where your profit is. And this is the thing we were going to discuss tonight about the Dunning-Kruger effect. And it's about having confidence in what you charge, and also this fear of like, well, I can't afford to do it for that because a certain person down the road will do it for less and cheaper and whatever. And this person down the road who you think can do it for less down the road it's a piece of imagination.
Yeah.
And you'll say to me, but Tim, no, it's not a figment of imagination. It is down the road there, and in our area, he's undercutting everybody, and we can't compete with him. And this is about then having confidence in yourself as a business, but also in terms of that it's about the service you provide. And the thing about the service you provide is that you need to compete not just on price. So when you compete just on price, that's when you're just like doomed for failure, because you don't know what the person down the road's doing it in. There could quite literally be in a shed. They might be using rattle cans, and they might
what the insurance industry is.
Yeah,
competing on prices.
So this is the thing where you need to actually get away from this illusion about competition, because the only real competition you have as a body shop and in business, even if we're not talking about body shops at all, just in business in general, is that your only competition is you. That's it. Nobody else. Now, the reason why I say that, and I'm sure it's going to be quite contentious to people, and they'll say that I'm wrong, but you need to know your figures. So you need to start off in knowing what's your operational cost. So how much do I spend a month? How many hours do I work? What profit do I need to be earning for it? And then from that, you can then start calculating where your profit ratio needs to be. Now, before you even think about trying to compete about estimating for a job for a vehicle that's coming to walk in, and he said, well, I get it done down the road for cheaper. There's no point you doing that job if it loses you money. So why do you want work that doesn't make you profit? Simple. Because it will cost you more to service that job. And then you think, actually, well, yeah, but I can afford to keep the lights on now, Tim. You don't realise how hard it is out there. And I do. And I sympathise with people. But you just need better business people.
Yeah.
Because what you've got is people who are great at repairing cars, but they're not so great at running a business. Now, the thing is that whilst you're repairing that car for not enough profit to compete with that person who doesn't exist down the road, you might well have had another person come in who you could have been repairing their car at twice the profit.
Yeah.
Now, this primary thing then, and it's all about you having the confidence to charge what you can charge. The surprising thing is it's amazing what people are willing to pay you. Now, if you figure at the bottom end of the marketplace, everybody wants it done for as little as possible. But once you start pricing things at a certain point, people become more reassured with it. And then the more expensive they get, it then becomes even kind of half a bit of a lifestyle thing where people want expensive things. They like to show off. People want to be known to be going to a certain place because that place down the road is an absolute quality job, and I can afford to go there because by the time my car comes back, it's going to be mint. And there's certain aspects of that going on in where this then comes away from pricing a job, and it comes down to marketing. So again, it's about building your business skills. First of all, understanding what it costs you to run your business, then working out what profit you need to make. But then the thing that all these body shops are missing out on is in terms of the marketing. So again, another conversation I got into the other day, and it was a comment from a certain group that I won't mention, but it made me laugh because they went, "Yeah, but Tim, I'm always busy. It's fantastic. I get all my work from word of mouth." The previous day was complaining about the lack of profit in the job. Now, the interesting correlation about that is that if you get recommended for doing a good job cheap to all your mates, everybody will recommend you. They'll all go, "He's absolutely brilliant down there. He does a cracking job and he doesn't charge anything." You'll be busy for the rest of your life doing loads of jobs for no money.
Still busy.
You don't want that work.
No, of course you don't.
Yeah, so what you want is you want to market things in such a way where people are willing to pay for your services, but it's also this thought of Fred in the shed down the road can do it cheaper, and I need to grab onto that job because I can't afford to lose it. But it is just kind of completely. It makes my brain spin because it's that nonsensical.
You work with body shops. Do you find do they do much marketing? Is this?
Yeah, and this is the ironic thing of it. None of them.
I don't know. It's a
very, very few, and that's it. And it's like, so certainly from the business side of it, about not knowing the operational cost is a major thing. But from a marketing point of view, it's huge. So I know you're an absolute genius at marketing because of the things you've done with your different websites, and you understand how social media works and how you can make it spread and how you can get that. And then
reach.
There's this link as well between the referral link, and you've got basically what's kind of like an authorized link, a non-authorized link. So an authorized link is where somebody does something by recommendation and says, I know Darren does a fantastic job. And they become somebody who's active in promoting your business. So if you've got people around you who are active promoters, fantastic, word of mouth is a great thing. But when you're doing that through social media as well, and certainly when you target your marketing at a certain demographic of people, you attract them. And like I said, with body shops, very few of them do it, and hardly any of them do it well. I mean, when's the last time you saw a body shop advertised on TV?
Don't think I've ever seen one.
No.
Yeah.
And then, so things like you might hear them advertised on radio, and it'd be very, very rare. And then when you speak to people who've done it on radio, they'll say, well, the reason why I don't do it anymore is because I didn't get any return on my investment. I didn't get any work coming back out of it. Or things like you might even have an advert on the back of a bus. It's the same thing with that. So whatever you do, you need to make sure that you get a return on your investment. But Facebook marketing is fantastic for that.
Yeah, Facebook. I can't. Nowadays, everybody should be doing Facebook marketing, shouldn't they? It's definitely.
But before you even get to that, you want to look at who you want to market to, because, and this could even come down to the position of where your body shop is. It could come down to your location. Now, if you're tucked to an industrial estate away from everybody else, then your passing trade's not going to be great. Yeah. You're not at high street. So then the only type of work you're going to get is either through the trade or through recommendation, or unless you're an approved repairer for somebody. So if you're in that type of location, you need to market the absolute living daylights out of where you are.
Yeah, very much.
Because people need to know who you are, where you are, and what you do. Now, if you're on a high street, it's a bit different. So then if you look at any of the larger body shop groups, you'll find most of them, if any ones that like approved repairers through different manufacturers, a lot of them are in prime sites, so people can see them.
Yeah.
And then you've got your passing trade and people come in. And then also, if you find somebody going into for example, we'll use as an example. So say it's an Audi approved body shop. If somebody walks into an Audi showroom, it's all nice and shiny and glitzy and bright and clean, and then they go, oh, I've damaged my car. They go, yeah, go through to the reception of the body shop. You'll find what they'll do is they won't even take you through to the body shop. They'll keep you at the service reception. They'll get somebody out. So have a nice cup of coffee, have some biscuits, they'll look after you. So when you get your job coming through with an estimate that's been done at £65 an hour as a walk-in.
And it's for somebody else around the corner because they aren't doing the job.
Yeah. But that customer feels, well, it's that because I'm in this place. Yeah. And it's that image, and it's how you present yourself, and it's the customer service. And this then gets away from the point of trying to market your services and compete for work primarily based on price, which is what we don't want to do. So what you need to do is go completely into what other things you can do to do that. Now, there's different examples I can give you, and there's different differentiators. So going away from competing on price, things you can do, look at customer services. So many companies believe that offering a superior customer service is key to making more profit, because then you get that feedback where people want to come back to you.
Yep.
Offering unique products or services. Do you just repair accident damaged cars, or do you do wheel refurbs? Do you do, does it come in and you detail it? Do you do services as well as actually doing repairs? Do you do ADAS resets? Do you do four-wheel alignment? So then if you're offering a package of different services, it could differentiate you away from Fred in the shed down the road who just paints cars and that's it. Because you could go, well, why are your cars in here getting that scratch repaired? Why don't you get your wheels refurbed? In fact, actually, I've got a mate with a body shop who's like one of my good mates I've known for years. And I wouldn't say he's had my pants down, but he absolutely sold the living daylights out of it on something where it's for me. So my partner's called Helen, and she had some scratches on her car, and he went, whilst the car's going in, why don't you get the wheels refurbed?
Upselling.
And I'm like,
brilliant.
He got me. And then he went, it'd be a real shame to paint that rear quarter panel and get your wheels refurbed, and then why don't you get it machine polished whilst it's in here?
Yeah.
And it was like, it was this upsell. But the thing is, he went, isn't it her birthday coming up soon as well? So he's like, he's got me
as
nailed.
well.
Yeah. So, but he's got me nailed. But there's things there, whereas what you could be doing from a customer service point of view is this then comes to your front of house staff as well, being ambassadors of your business. How do they communicate with the customers? What information are you getting? What questions are you asking them? Is it, the person who's coming with a car, is it their car? It might be the partner's car. So do you mind if we just take your details and put them on record? Because obviously I need your name and address because we need to know where you are.
Yeah.
So you've got the details for it, so you can work out. So what we like to do is we do a random draw. So do you mind if we just take your date of birth, and then it could be you win a prize. We might give you a free service, free pot. Yeah, we'll do that. Things like that, where the best customer you've got is one that you keep in contact with.
Yeah.
And the easiest customer to sell to is one that you've already sold to. Dead simple. If you try to sell service to somebody you haven't sold to, it's hard. If somebody's bought your services, had them, and thought you were fantastic, it's much easier for you to resell that service back to them after the event. So having something like sending somebody a birthday card, and the people go like, how thoughtful of that? I've actually just received a birthday card today off a body shop. Who does that? Right, well, they're great.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is then,
people.
But the thing is then, who do they think of when they have an accident or scratch or a dent? They don't go, oh, I'll ring around and drive around the area for half an hour and try and find. They'll go, oh, do you remember such a body shop?
Yeah.
And now something like that is something dead simple, but it's about, so if you look at who's great in terms of marketing and advertising, it's generally the ones who are good at keeping your attention. And then it's also things like in terms of brands. So when I said about how you differentiate yourself between different businesses, one of the best businesses for that is Apple. So if you're looking at a business that is bottom feeding and fighting for customers and scared of Fred in the shed down the road, then you look at a comparison like Apple, where you've got people queuing outside the shop, waiting for their next product. They're not fighting for the business with Huawei or Nokia or any Android device or anything like that. In effect, it's like not having competition because the hard work's already been done. So when you've got customers knocking down your door trying to come to you and saying like, right, I want you to repair my car for you, that's when you can go, right, well, I can start charging more now. And this is where this Dunning-Kruger effect comes into, because it's having the confidence to know what your value is. Because if you don't value what you do, customers won't. And the way you convey that is you need to give them that peace of mind of quality and also talk them through what you're doing, but also explain the reason why such a person down the road is doing it for 200 quid and why you're £2,000.
We had exactly that within a few years of being in business. Early on, probably 3-4 years in business, we had the same thing. We were struggling to make ends meet, but we were busy as anything, because we were too cheap, but we were brilliant at what we did. So we overnight just sat there and said, right, we've got to literally double the price of the work that we were doing, because I'd sat there and the same thing as you and said, well, what's the point in opening the doors if we're not making any money? So we may as well get rid of the staff and get rid of everyone because we're not making any money. So we just doubled the price. And overnight, yes, we lost some customers, people who didn't want to pay the prices, but the majority did. The majority stayed. And that's when the business turned for us, really, because that was knowing our worth, knowing our, we sat there on the line and said, right, if people want us, they want to do their work, they'll continue, but they will pay the extra money. And they did. And that was a massive turning point for us. Horrible lesson to learn, but that was in the early days of business, of course. So
yeah, I've had the same thing myself, because it's when I first started my business, there is literally only me in the UK doing it, and like I said before, in the past, pretty much in the world, because it is a unique thing. So then how do I attach a value to what I do? And then also not only how do I value it, because I need to know what I'm going to pay myself, but also then how do I then charge people for it? And it's like, what value does it have? Then you've also got another part, and you find this in the body repair side of it, whereas you've got a point where people don't want to pay anymore. And it's finding where that level is, which is always a hard thing. That's an
insurer.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, they've got it well sussed without a doubt.
I don't want to pay anymore.
No, and it's finding that tipping point. So for me, part of the things I do, and this all comes down to marketing again, and understanding your demographics, understanding and analysing who you target and who wants to use you, who doesn't, which ones basically, you can retain. And I found a point where once I started charging more than a certain amount for a certain service, people wouldn't use me. So I just wound it back a bit. Now, before that, I was charging half of it. But even then, I wasn't getting loads of people taking up, and I couldn't work it out. And what it was if it's too cheap, people won't use you.
And then they're getting value.
Yeah. And then you can also argue, if they think it's too expensive, they won't use you. But the thing is, if they think it's too expensive, but then they still pay it and then find out after the event you did an amazing job. So I had some people going like, I'd have paid you absolutely thousands for doing what you'd have done, and had I used like a commercial solicitor, it'd have cost me thousands, but I was that impressed with what you've done, and I'd gladly paid it. And they go, well, why don't you charge it? And I went, the reason why I won't charge it is, yes, you might have paid for it now, but at the start of it, you wouldn't have done, because you weren't happy with what I was going to charge you in the first place.
Yeah, at the start.
And from a body shop, it's that thing whereas this is why you need to forget about who's operating around you, forget about your competitors, and just focus on your own business. And then if you see a job go down the road and somebody else is doing it cheaper, don't worry about it, because there'll always be more jobs behind it. And it's that you need to have a lack of fear and more confidence in what you're doing, because they're all brilliant repairers.
Yeah.
Or most of them are. There's very few that I've seen that, I think are crap, aside from these Freds in the shed doing it cheap.
Yeah.
But there's also a separate side of it as well that's really, really important, which is one of the other things I wanted to address with it. I mean, I've actually not got into the full thing I was going to present to you and get the slide up. We've got off on a tangent. But I'll leave that and go on. If anybody's interested about the Dunning-Kruger effect and also pricing and different things, there's actually a link Darren will stick in later on, which is onto my website, explaining it all and why you need to price it and why you need to be focusing on your own business and not on competition.
So what do you do? Help people with that, Tim? Is that something
we can do that as well.
Yeah, cool.
Give you confidence. But there's a secondary side to it as well. And this bit is, so the first bit is something you need to know and it's important. It's about running a business. This second side is really, really, really important. It's not just about running a business, it's law. So it's fundamental to your business if you get it wrong. So this bit of law that you need to know about is called the 2015 Consumer Rights Act. Now, the thing is, the chances are a cheap job is probably not a good job. And if a job's not a good job, the chances are, if you do it and you do it for a cheap job, it's going to come back and bite it on the backside. Now, the significance of this is, as a business, if you sell products or services that are faulty or not been carried out with due care, skill and attention or with diligence, the consumer has the entitlement to either request for that work to be redone again from scratch, which is one thing. They can request the money back in full. So basically, you've repaired a car, they complain about it, and then they can request the money back. So they've got the car repaired and the money back. So it's costing you money. But what you've also got is that where a consumer loses faith in the original supplier of goods, then they have the entitlement to take that vehicle back to wherever they want. So, for example, we use this fictitious Audi, and Fred in the shed down the road's on it for 200 quid, because it's got a bumper scuff on it.
Yep.
And it might have caught a quarter panel for something, and he just thought, I'll touch the quarter panel in and give it a quick flick, and I'll do the bumper corner. 200 quid, it's great. Well, if the customer's lost faith in that repairer, because they're going like, it's absolutely shocking, it's got overspray everywhere, it's not been masked off, the paintwork's rough, it's got crap lacquer on it, and I'm not happy. And that repairer goes, well, I told you it was a trade job and it's not great, and you wanted a cheap job doing. It doesn't matter, because it all comes down to the what's an expectation from the customer in a repairer doing a job, and the expectation is that you do it well. So they have the entitlement to go to Audi and get it done at full retail cost. So it could then be the rectification
cost.
Cost
state you've got to give it. They're supposed to give you 3 times to put that right.
No,
usually no.
No, absolutely not. So that might have been under the that was previous to the Consumer Rights Act, and it was under the Trades and Goods and Services Act, I think about 1979. But no 3 times, nothing like that. If a customer's losing, you don't even need to be given the opportunity to rectify it. They can just go, I've lost faith in you. Down the road they go, and that's it. So a court would want to see that you've acted reasonably. So they'll say, give them at least one opportunity to try and rectify it. But if they've lost faith in you, don't even need to do that. Now the thing is that 200 quid repair could go to, like I said, a main dealer as an example, and it might come out 1,500 quid. And they'd have the entitlement to then take it to court and sue you for breach of contract because you've provided faulty goods. So there's no such thing as a cheap job when somebody does it down the road, because if it's not done right and it's not fit for purpose, as described, the merchantable quality, that's it, they can reject it. So anybody who's doing cheap work out there, you need to bear that in mind, because you're playing with fire, absolute fire. It's so dangerous. And the reason why I know this is because I'm a forensic engineer. I go out and inspect vehicles after they've been repaired, and acting an expert witness, a solicitor appointed me to inspect the vehicle, advise what defects they are, advise on the rectification cost, and they use my report to go to court to then sue the other party for that. So it's not something I'm making up and plucking out of thin air. I'm involved in it on a weekly, daily basis, monthly basis.
Well, I'm pretty much hoping that all the members of Crash Clinic are top standard BSI repairers. So hopefully we wouldn't have that problem within the group, but you never know.
Well, hopefully you wouldn't. But even with that, even having a BS standard isn't initially, there's always that one that goes tits up or something like that. But there's also other repairers that aren't, who are probably not part of Crash at the moment, who might be watching from other Facebook groups. So, might be independent repairers. They need to know these things. But this all comes down to, whereas when you price a job up, you need to bear in mind that can you afford for it to go wrong. So rather than just pricing it up and going like, right, I'm competing and against Fred in the shed down the road, you might do 1,000 jobs like that, but the one that goes wrong, and again, it's something to deal with quite a lot with different repairers, where they'll sort seek me advice and say, like, Tim, I've got an issue, what do I do here? And I'll explain. The other side of it is they've not got a contract in place, so they've not even put down what they've agreed with the customer, which could help steer a judge to go, well, I understand that it was a quick trade job to get it down the road and it wasn't done under the normal terms, but it's what's to say what's been agreed if you don't make a note of it.
Repairers when they have a problem as well, is that something else you can do for repairers when they have a problem against them if they ever get it?
So a part of what I do, I don't necessarily get involved in the situation they're in, or I try not to, because again, for me it's a very hard thing to price up, because there's a lot of things that I do around training, to train people on how to deal with those situations before they occur. That's the better way of doing it, rather than deal with it on an ad hoc basis. When it is on an ad hoc basis, I can help them, but I charge for the time I spend on it. So whereas me spending time with them training on what to do to avoid it, if I've got to spend time with them to sort it out, it's a lot more expensive. So it benefits to have the training first, rather than me try and come and sort it out at the back end of it. Are your training courses on your website? Are they find out what it is that you do, or is that something you haven't done yet, but you can, some are and some aren't. Right. So what I've done is I've got some videos on YouTube. So I've got a couple of them where, again, they're on there for free, so they can click on it and I'll go through and give them some guidance on it. The training itself is dependent on, it's very flexible. So it's better for me to do a training session specifically for that one body shop. So rather than going like, I've got a training session, this is what I cover, this is the amount of time it takes to do it, and I've got a rough idea in my head. But it's better for me to say to the repairer, okay, so what issues you've got, what is it you're not aware of? And then rather than having a standardized course that I can provide, I can then tailor it specifically to them to make sure I address all the things they're not, sure of, rather than one side of it. So it's not on my website, but it's very flexible in what I do, because it's that complex, because it comes under everything from having the contracts in place at the start of it, knowing how to speak to the customer and what you've agreed, to dealing with complaints at the end of it, what's the best thing to do, and then like worst case scenario when all hell's breaking loose and somebody's suing you and taking you to court, what do you do? So
it might be a good idea, Tim, just to sort of, for me and you, to get a bullet point of what it is that you can do, and we'll put it on to Crash Clinic, of course, because it's going to be just full of repairers that might need your, those kind of services to for help.
And like I said, there's all sorts of things. So it's like I said, it's not just kind of that from a dispute resolution point of view with complaints. It is, a lot of it is understanding the basics of law, understanding consumer law. So even before, when you speak to people, you've got to be very careful what you say to them, because they could say, a good example is somebody comes in, sorry, I just slid on the ice outside and I've caught a curb, can you have a look at my car? And it's like, no, absolutely not looking at your car. Because if they come in and you go, yeah, you're fine, you're okay, and then they drive down the road and have an accident, you're liable for it, because they've come to seek the opinion of a professional and expert person to tell them something. So something like that can be really, really dangerous. And if you don't know, you don't know, and that's it. You could, what happens if that person crashes and kills somebody? And then they go, well, I spoke to such a body shop and they checked it out for me. And you went, no, I walked round it and give it a quick glance. No, I asked you, was it safe to drive? And you said, yeah. No, I said it looked all right. So there's loads of things that you can be fraught with, with danger if you're not aware of it. Whereas the better way of doing that is going like, right, is it okay if we bring the car in, but I'll need to charge you for my services if you want me to inspect it?
Yeah.
And then it's their issue. If they go, no, I only want you to have a quick look at it. No, I don't do that. No, if you want me to advise you whether your vehicle's safe to drive, I need to inspect it and need to do it properly. I'm not just going to cast my eye over it and say, yes, it's fine. No, it's not. So
a lot of people ask you that, don't they? When they've had a crash, they send you pictures nowadays and say, "Is it okay to drive?"
Yeah,
it's always an issue because you'll get a work provider saying, it's or the customer will tell you it's not drivable. You're saying it's drivable. It's all based on pictures. It's quite dangerous then, really.
Well, it's hugely dangerous. But I'll give you an example. Minis are a perfect example for this. So going back to probably when the so not the original Mark 1 Mini, but like the BMW Mini. When they first came out, I was at Direct Line, and they were brand new, and there's loads of them about, and then they started having accidents. And what would appear quite an innocuous knock on the front wheel would end up that it cracked steering rack, and the steering rack's magnesium and dead light and brittle. And we'd get the repairers coming in, and it might just like a clipped tire and a wheel, and there's no signs that there's no negative camber, there's no bent steering arms, nothing like that. And you go, yeah, it's fine. It's just kind of caught a mud, a wheel arch liner and a spat, and that's it. And then a week later, it'd be like customer complaining it's not steering straight, all the rest of it. And then they get underneath it, inspect it, and the steering rack would be like hanging off. Now, the risk of having something like that when you're working off images, and then somebody says to you, "Is it safe to drive?" and you're not inspected it, you're liable for it. So yeah, it's a real
something for everyone to take note of. I didn't actually know that. 33 years, just a comment can make you liable. Wow.
Oh yeah, when somebody asks you, I get stuff all the time with people where they'll say like, "I've been, but I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about that. So can I just send you pictures of it?" And I work hard to avoid it because I don't want to get involved. Wow. And then they'll go, "Yeah, so is it safe to drive it?" And I'll just go, "No." Because I don't want to say because they might drive it.
No comment in the future now. Now I've heard that. Yeah. I'm sure there's a few repairers out there that will be taking note of that and saying, no comment at your own risk. At your own risk.
Well, it's not even at your own risk because that intimates that you can drive at your own risk.
Blimey.
So it's like, so if anybody asks you something like that, you go, well, yeah, I'll happily check it out for you. I'll charge you my services.
Wow.
Because then you're actually engaged in a contract then. So offer acceptance and consideration. So you made an offer, they've accepted it, and the consideration side of it is the fee you charge for whatever you're doing. But then, you're actually saying, this is my profession, this is what I'm doing, I'm an expert, I'm going to check your vehicle out for you.
I think because of technology, it's becoming, I've noticed it more and more. A lot of my friends send me pictures. Hey, can you, wow. And I know it's getting more and more because the technology allows it to be more and more, doesn't it? Here's a couple of pictures. Is this okay? I had one 2 days ago just saying this is the damage. Can I drive it? I didn't comment.
Give me a cracking example for it. And this is the risk of technology where it's going. And I've seen this on a couple of vehicles as well. So I know the risks attached to it. ADAS systems on cars. So what do you do? So some Mercs have got it behind the actual three-pointed star on the grille.
Yep.
And then I've seen lots of Volkswagens with the same. And then other ones have got it lower down as well. And a lot of them, it activates emergency assisted braking on it. So what happens when a vehicle has a slight front end bump and it knocks the radar or LiDAR on the front of it and it's not operating correctly? They bring it into you and go, is it safe to drive it? And you go, I can't really say anything wrong with it because the bumper and the grille looks all right. Not realizing it's the radar is now pointing downwards because it's had a crack. It goes out there on the road and they're distracted just because they've already had one bump and they're shit drivers, and then they're not realised that the wagon in front stopped, but it's all right because we've got ADAS, it'll stop, and then they don't, and who's liable for it? So the stuff
it's a big thing now, isn't it? Technology's making cars. There was something I read, I think it was yesterday, funny enough, quite a big article about who's becoming liable for these vehicles because it's all becoming app-based, technology-based, and it's you're supposed to be relying on the car more and more, aren't you? So it's going to be
there's massive issues with Tesla. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's massive issues with Tesla at the moment as well, because America being such a litigious society, when something works or somebody dies, they get quite annoyed. And Tesla have moved away from using LiDAR because they want to focus the way the vehicles work solely on using cameras 360 all the way around it. And there's been a lot of issues now, whereas they're not detecting, using the cameras, they're not detecting things around them all the time. Because what you've got with radar and LiDAR, you can actually measure bone density. So it bounces through it, it bounces back at a different rate. Cameras don't. And if you imagine, you're an innocent person walking over a road and suddenly you get battered by a car flying past you, and because the person was on autonomous and not, they're distracted.
No, it's going to be frightening, isn't it?
He's liable for it.
No.
And this is something where it's going further down the line in the future because of
the talks are there, aren't they? People are having the talks, and I don't think anyone's got the answers yet. So
yeah, I mean, there's a point when it'll go fully autonomous, but then at that point when it becomes fully autonomous, is it the manufacturer of the vehicle liable? Is it? Yeah. Is it the driver? Is it the software?
Can you call them a driver? Can you call? But you can't call them a driver if they're not driving it, can you? If it's autonomous, what would they be then called? A passenger?
Yeah, well, right. Okay. So then, not think of it past that as well. So imagine you go out for a night out, you jump out your car, you put your car on automatic parking, and it might be it can't find a parking space, so it drives around in a circle for half an hour. What happens if it kills somebody? It runs over somebody who's liable for it because nobody's in it. And it's like, so, but then imagine then you go past that. So imagine the actual things that help it operate to work out its environment. Said the week before, it's been driving down the road and somebody's reversed into it in a car park, and it's smacked a LiDAR sensor underneath it, so a tow bar's hit it or something. The week later, it's driving around, but it can't see in front of it. But it's still working off its cameras.
Wow.
And it might come in and see you the week before. You've had a quick look. Yeah, it looks all right. So crack up. Is liable for it. So yeah, there's so many things there where it's
changing rapidly, isn't it? It's wow. Yeah. But these are things we've got to address, and we've got to think because they're going to happen one day. So it's
yeah, it is. But again, it's all about being aware of how the law can affect you. Now you can become liable for things, and it's also about being a professional business. And going right back to the start again, it's about understanding what your business is, which is to make profit. When you've got a business and you need to understand your financials and understand your cost attached to it, but also you then need to understand what contracts are like, what's a good contract and what's a bad contract. You need to understand your marketing and need to market in the right place, because if you get your marketing wrong or you don't market, then you'll get the work that you don't want, that you complain about, that you don't make any money on. Yeah. So look at what work does make you money and market at them. And then if you're targeting your marketing, this is the thing again about threading the shed down the road. If you're targeting your marketing on a completely different set of people, you don't have to compete with Fred in the shed down the road, because you don't have to take work.
Find something unique.
Yeah, and that's it. But it sounds kind of simple and straightforward, but it is the hardest thing is working out the people who want to spend money with you. And again, that's all about doing your research, looking who's in your local area. Is your target market actually not consumers? Is it fleet companies? Could there be
a lot out there when you think about it in this industry, but I don't know whether a lot. We're going to find out. That's the idea of Crash Clinic, is to try and help people who are need work. Although I don't know if there is many out there at the moment, because everybody seems so busy, and that's something we need to find out again. Is there a lack of body shops? I don't know. Is there something's happened in this market that's very strange? I believe, and I'd like to again, because we don't come together, we just can't find out enough information, and we really need to help each other now, I think, more than ever, for the future of us all.
When you look at that and what we need to do, compare that to insurance companies. So insurance companies, you've got the Association of British Insurers. What do? They all talk to each other.
Yeah, well, exactly.
They have meetings every other week. Yeah. And then, and it's technically they're a cartel, is what they are. And they actually got sued for being a cartel.
I've heard that before, but it's if there was a problem with the repairer suddenly being, if I suddenly came on here and I was here so anti-insurers, I'm not. I want to try and build relationships with insurers. But if I wasn't, and I was shouting my mouth off, really dumbing them down and slagging them off, the news would spread and they would tell each other, and all of a sudden I'd be a massive target. That's probably why I think a lot of people are scared to speak out. I'm not scared to speak out because I just always say honesty is the best policy. I'm just being honest. This is a problem in our industry. So are we going to fix it or not? Because it's affecting insurers like it is us. So I don't want to be scared of, and I'm not going to be frightened about anything I say. They can, I'm not here to slag them off, but I'm also here to sort of say that's wrong. There's a lot of things in this industry that are wrong, and we've got to be able to say it. But insurers spread, they talk massively. They suddenly know if I was here, doing something bad to them all, the news would spread massively. And like you say, they share their information, and that's key to us as an industry really coming together to share that information. And
it's a simple thing as well about going back to profit. So always being scared of Fred in the Shed down the road doing it cheaper. So let's say Fred in the Shed now is actually a manufacturer approved agent, and you're a manufacturer approved agent, and you've got the same type of franchise, but you're 5 miles away. But you're now scared that one down the road's doing it cheaper. Well, why not talk to each other and then go? So, and this happened with
a lot of business. Yeah, there's they called it something, didn't they? Price fixing or something.
Well, they're trying to say it's price fixing in a cartel, but it's not if you share information. But there's if everybody works together and everybody says, "Well, I'm not going to steal your work," and then somebody will say to you, "Well, what will happen then is, Tim, we'll all agree to that," and somebody will break ranks, which
that's
sometimes does happen
in this industry, hasn't it? But
the thing is that, again, if somebody breaks ranks, they're scared of losing work. So just don't target the type of work that they're doing. And it's if they want to work for no money, what will happen is they'll end up not having a business in a not very short amount of time. So that competitor actually shoots herself in the foot, and they won't be there in 2-3 years, and then you'll get all their work anyhow. So, but it's about, if you've got a collective of people, so a good example for it is when you look at like a north-south divide. So if everybody comes together as a group, as a collective, start sharing information, and you can document it on a spreadsheet, and then you go, well, so a typical argument might be X insurance company will only agree X amount of money per hour. You go, well, I'm sorry, but I'm in such a place and I get £30 an hour off them, or £40 an hour, or £50 an hour. Great. Who said it? What engineer was it? What date was it on? Give us an assessment number. Great. Now, when they try to go, Darren, I spoke to Tim last week and I agreed £28 an hour with him. You can go, no, you didn't. You're talking bollocks, because I know that when you spoke to him, you authorised £45 an hour with it, and the audit assessment number is this. So I want £50 an hour, and you're at 45. I'm not budging. I still want £50 an hour, and I can't see any reason why you're not going to pay it. And they go, what can you say? You've got them. Now, the thing is, then, it's not about price fixing. It's about going, let's hold these insurance companies accountable and say to them, well, when you tell us X person down the road can do it cheaper, which is this Fred in the Shed down the road who doesn't exist, just go, no, we've got a full record of what engineer spoke with, what repairer, who they spoke to, what was agreed, what rates were agreed, and then we can start documenting and evidence of it. And then what will happen then is you'll see differentiations around the country because of, you'll say it's more expensive in London than it is up north. But, and it is from a commercial rates point of view, but it still shouldn't matter in terms of profitability of a business. It's still, that place that's more expensive to run down in London might have 5 staff, you might have 30.
Yeah, of course.
And there's certain kind of benefits in doing that because it's more efficient. But you'd still argue, well, no, but my operational costs are higher, so I need to charge more money for it. So if you've got an insurance company saying, well, we don't pay that, again, I can get into the insurance side of it and go, I'm not bothered about what you're going to pay me because you need to indemnify your customer. But from my point of view, I'm not bothered about what you'll pay, what you don't pay. I charge this. My business, I know what it costs me to run it, because I know in the past of body shops who've done that, and they've actually ended up working for insurance companies and losing money on every single job they're doing, which is like commercial suicide. Nationwide Crash Repairs is a primary example of that.
Yep.
I've seen their contracts that they work with on some of them, and they were trying to do it. They solely did it on the basis of what they thought of being volume. So you can actually work on a basis of earning less money per hour than your break-even rate, but you're doing it because you got more staff, and then each member of staff actually starts earning your profit, and you can make it work that way. But the problem with that is, as soon as the volume stops, that's it. It starts costing you money, and that's
Well,
where their
these
business
groups have
model fails.
investors as well, don't they? So they get investment money in, and it's going to run out
Yeah.
eventually, which is what happened to Crash.
Yeah, and there's tax dodges and stuff like that. There's all sorts of things you can do. But it comes down to, whereas if you're not one of these massive entities that's doing that, then forget about everything else, anybody else in the body repair industry. Just focus on your own business. Look at your financials, look at your cost, work out your profit.
Well, the groups seem to be getting bigger, and I think for us at the moment, we need to think long and hard, because us individuals are going to suffer if we don't do something. If we don't come together and become a group of some force, I think we're going to have the individuals are going to really suffer over the next few years.
Yeah, and it's about responsibility as well, though. So these people who are keeping quiet, who don't want to come on and say, I'm scared of doing this. And it's like,
part of the problem.
Yeah. So if you're scared to come on and talk about what's going on in the industry because you're scared of what's going to happen if you do, I'd be more scared of what's going to happen to you if you don't. Because if you don't come on and say it, you won't be here. It's as simple as that. Exactly. And if you think that's rubbish,
that's something I need to keep harping on about, because that is exactly right.
Yeah.
If you should be more scared about what's going to happen down the line if you don't speak up now, because this industry is going to change around us, and we're not going to have anything to say, and we'll all be sorry. But if you can't, you're part of the problem if you're not speaking up now.
Yeah. And I'll give you another example. They go, yeah, but they're scared if we do that, we'll lose this work. And it's like, yeah, but the work that you're scared of losing doesn't make you profit.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it makes you absolutely shed loads of money and you're millionaires and you're scared of losing it, totally with you. I've not got a problem at all. I fully understand what you're saying, and I wouldn't do it either, because it's earning you money, making you profit.
Of course.
Okay? If you've got a contract that doesn't do that, I'll be going, right. And then if you've got a contract that you're not quite sure of that helps you keep the lights on, I wouldn't be scared of losing it. What I'd be doing is I'd be looking at what business I can get and what I can do to market it, to get businesses that earns me profit, so I can get rid of the shit contract and have a good one. Exactly. I'm still not be scared about what I'm talking about.
Yeah, very much. Very much. Marketing again, back to marketing. So looking for the good work, but we need. I'm looking forward to finding out from the group. What I'm starting to do a lot of polls at the moment, trying to get information from everybody, so we can start. I can then start sharing the information with the members, and we can start to get stronger, of course. But again, we need more people joining in. We need more people getting involved in stuff. But that's we are.
It's important as well that it's anonymous as well. So anybody who comes in the forum, that you all know each other are, so that then you're not scared of somebody going away, because you know who they are, because you speak to them.
Yeah.
But also it's like this element of fear about other people in the industry of different repairers, and this is why they're scared of speaking up or even sharing the information. I'm actually now experienced the complete opposite of that. So with the repairers I've worked with over the last 5 years, the amount of repairers I speak to who are willing to participate in things like this and willing to engage and willing to talk and go like, listen, I've got a business, it's brilliant, I earn loads of money, I've got great contracts, I'll help you as a small repairer understand how I got to be where it's going to be.
Yep.
And so if there's repairers watching this who are smaller repairers or smaller independents, there is a load of repairers who will help you. Yep. You might not, so rather than look at these people as being your competitors or taking your work, you might well find they want to help you. Because it might be that you can do work there, even if they're in your local area, is an example. Yeah. So it might be that these bigger repairers that have invested loads of money might not want to do the smaller repairs that you can do. So it might be they go, when they have a walk-in coming into them, they're like saying, sorry, Mr. Customer, but we're really, really busy. But I actually know a person down the road who's great. Yeah. Family business, small body shop, quality repairs, great customer services. Have a chat with them. And that's why it's important, whereas repairers all start talking to each other and working together. Because again, it's like, rather than having a fear of competition, don't do the opposite. Just all work together.
We're back to that. We're in Birmingham, very busy area, of course, a lot of body shops. I've been here for 33 years. We've never been quiet in 33 years. And we've never tried, I can speak openly to the local repairers. We all get on. We've never really trod on each other's toes. I've had the same staff for 30 odd years, so we don't pinch each other's staff. I've never been involved in anything like that with any of them. So it only makes sense to work together. Like insurance brokers do, the broker network came together so they could get more power, and they gained more power, and it helped them immensely. And I'm going to keep every Tuesday, coming on, harping on about this to try and get people to join up. And if they come together, we will get stronger, we will get better for the future. It's the future that I think is going to be a bigger problem than it is now. So we need to start looking at it now. But it's all good fun.
Yeah, and it's like saying about profit as well. Things where, and there's somebody who I could probably introduce the channel as well, where I'm sure that the viewers would find it interesting, and it would help them potentially in more profit as well.
Mm.
But it's things like, going back to what you said about just charging for one thing extra on every job. Right, profits.
I found one today. I was looking at this. I'm doing the matrix myself, so I thought, right, I'm going to start thinking of everything. And because I mean, it's my business, I've got a lot of different businesses, so I'm sitting here doing this as well with Crash Clinic because it's kind of the passion of it. I'm looking through it all, and I've just suddenly coming across, because the industry's changed, and a couple of years goes by in no time. All of a sudden, there's little things that have come in or gone out, or you're not charging enough. So I think it's something you should, as a business, check regularly anyway. And it's just proven to me today. I was just going through and I suddenly went, what if we're charging for that? So I sent a message off and they went, no, we're not. It's going on from tomorrow. So straight away, just that little bit of looking into it. But I want to do this because I'm pretty sure there's things we charge for that other body shops don't. And I'm sure there's things other body shops charge for that we don't. And I saw someone else's estimate not too long ago, and it's something really tiny, but I thought, bloody hell, that's clever. So now I put it onto our invoices. But this is the kind of thing we need to, when your profits are low, you need to maximize everything. And that's why working together and helping share these bits of information. Yeah, we've just got to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, just from an estimating side of it. So there's like James Clifford, who's one of my contacts.
Yep.
And he does like VDA training. Just looking at, so I've been on one of his training courses, and I know how he estimates and how he teaches people to estimate. And again, point one on a bit of a job on something, on every single job, it matches up. But once you start looking at it in terms of the methodology of repair and making sure you've got everything that's on there and all the things attached to it, doing a quality estimate and spending time on it rather than doing 10 jobs not so great. Just making sure you're consistent on every single job where you've got that additional extra bit of time on it that you're entitled to, and then your bits in your sundries and your bits in zone 99, and then all your checks you've done. And then, well, you want me to be BS 10125 and I need to do a methodology pack. So you don't mind if I charge you for it, do you? Because you want me to do it. I wouldn't have done it otherwise. So yeah, I've had to pay for that resource. I'm allowed to make a profit on it. Admin charges. So something I did probably about a year ago was, I got asked to, could I work out what the frictional cost of the admin charge side of it was in terms of a job from it start to finish. So from when it comes in, customer service staff taking the phone call, speaking to a customer, getting the job booked in, booking the parts in, what do you need to do in terms of printing the packs off the lads in the workshop, going through that whole process, how much time's involved in that? Because when you're getting your labour rates, you're looking at the lads on the shop floor, you're actually not looking at the cost to actually manage that job as a whole. Well, that's a cost to your business that you need to factor in. And it worked out, I think it worked out something like an hour and a half on every single job from start to finish. So I'd be sticking that on there. And again, it's like, it's not like you're claiming for something you're not entitled to.
Yeah.
Because if you don't book the customer in, they don't come in. If you don't book the parts in, then you don't get the parts. So it's a part of what you're doing. And it's not, we'll try and argue, well, those administration charges should be factored into your labour rate. No, those labour rates are to do with the guys repairing the cars, not to operate the business. So this is an additional thing that I need to do that. In the same way, if I sublet my ADAS to somebody, it costs me money. Well, doing all the admin side of it costs me money because I've got to pay for a receptionist or front house staff or all the rest of it. So
I think if we come together and everybody sort of look, this matrix that I want to send out to everybody is going to give everyone the basis of what we charge, and I'm really looking for everybody to add their little extras that they would like to be charging and think they should. Teddy Swann's just said here, and this is true. At the moment, holding online to an insurer you can be on an hour waiting to get through. You're trying to do your job, it's blocking your phones up. These are all costs. Now we get what do you call it? SLAs you've got to live up to. Now it doesn't work the other way around.
It work the other way around.
It's like you're on the phone. We're like, hold on a minute. If we were on the phone, kept you hanging on the phone for an hour, you'd be disgraced. But these just things. It's just they're all costs. They're all time. They're all. It's mad, isn't it? It's just there's a lot of things that got to change.
Last month I was dealing with an issue for a consumer with a certain insurance company. And I did the exact same thing you're saying there. So whereas what I actually did was I did a screenshot of my phone and I'd been on the phone for an hour before I even got through to anybody. And I kept getting bounced around the houses as well, because it just kind of dropped in a little void where nobody wanted to pick it up. And I thought, I'm just going to wait and see what happens. And and this is no word of a lie, somebody actually even picked up the phone and went, "Oh, he's still there." And then they cut me off again. And it was like they were intentionally trying to wind me up.
Definitely had that. Yeah, when I've had it cut off and then you ring back, cuts off again. It's just a nightmare.
Yeah. So in the end, because you know the way I work, I complain to the top and make it downwards anyhow. But I actually on LinkedIn found the guy who's the managing director, and I went, "Is this something you would appreciate yourself if you were trying to operate with a business where you're on hold for an hour trying to resolve an issue for one of your clients with a different customer? Is it acceptable?"
Yeah, it's terrible.
And it's just a rhetorical question. You couldn't get out. And he went, "Well, no." Oh, well, so here's my bill for being on an hour on the phone for an hour waiting for you.
Yeah. And I don't even know if you actually get charged on the phone for that long nowadays as well with these numbers. Some of them are free, some of them aren't they? I don't even know. Some of them you don't know nowadays, do you really?
Well, I mean, I work off my mobile phone, and I have to pay extra because I'm always speaking to insurance companies, and they're all 333 numbers and stuff like that. If I didn't pay extra to do it, it cost me like 45p a minute or something stupid. But even that other call, the one that was an hour, there was a difference in my bill from 1 month to another. Whereas it's even though you get free calls, it still charges you the additional thing for it, and it's like, shouldn't be costing you money to ring your own insurance company to complain about how shit they are. Like, that's really taking the piss, isn't it? It's like, yeah, we know we're bad, but we'll charge you to tell you how bad we are.
Usually ours is trying to get through to help a job move on, to get something moving, and you just sat there for an hour. And you can't, and then you get told, "Oh, you took too long on that." Well, hold on a minute. If you don't answer your bloody phone, but again, they're just other day-to-day problems in the lovely repair as well.
We should have covered invoice delays as well, then, shouldn't we? Just to really finish it off on a
what was that?
We should have really finished it off on invoicing as well, just to finish it off on a positive note of how crap they are paying people, and then sending it back because you've missed stuff and it doesn't match up with your parts. And
going back. Oh, we've had loads of them.
If anybody doesn't know, by the way, there's issues with order text at the moment as well, whereas it's actually not populating lines correctly on parts prices.
Oh, wow.
And it's leaving them blank. So then, when you then send your authority back off with your parts prices that are correct, invoices are rejecting it because it doesn't match up with the order text. The order text is wrong. And it's like, how much time does it take a body shop from an admin point of view to then do that? So
that's so annoying.
So when I said about James Clifford, it was him who told me, and he had to manually put in the parts price of every part on the order text to amend it manually to make it match up the invoice to help this repairer get paid.
Wow.
And you're going, how can you justify that? It's like these insurance companies should be helping repairers, making them sure they get repaired quickly, rather than going, "No, we just say we're not paying you. It don't match up with our system."
So that's their little get out clause, isn't it? It's doesn't match, we're not paying, and then it goes back and forth. It can take for ages, which is wrong. So that's who's going to don't.
I know.
This
I thought I'd finish on a positive note, and we're getting close to half 8, and I only wanted to be on for half an hour.
Yeah, no, we are actually, yeah. But we'll no, great to have you on again, Tim. Obviously, I think next week I'm going to try and do a little bit about helping. I want to come back out with some letters to help repairers, and I want to get this matrix out there for next week. That's my big aim. Hopefully the app is coming out, and hopefully there is a new section on Crash Clinic where repairers will have a search, so people will be able to search for a repairer and find a repairer. The aim of that is that will then go into our SEO, so people who are paying, my aim is to get a bit of knowledge about them and their body shops, and we're going to be doing the marketing for them. So that's something that's going to be really good for our members, of course. So looking forward to getting that out there as well. And obviously we'll come back again. What I'm going to try and do, if it's okay with you, Tim, whichever, we'll have a talk behind the scenes, and we'll keep trying to come back with some information that we can discuss and help the guys with, and see where it goes.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if we can do next week or not, because I'm not sure what they can do next week or not, because I've quite literally got work going out my ears at the moment.
No worry at all. Yeah, we'll try and have a look at see if every other week or something will be fine if we can. So where we go, brilliant.
Yeah, it's just the stuff that I don't do through multi-claim guru side of it, because I do consultancy work as well. Yeah, the work I'm currently doing is just gone daft, so I'm a bit tight on time. So it is
Well, I think you'll be busy because obviously when I find it, when the economy gets tight, people change. I find, because back in the 80s, I've been through 2 or 3, recessions, and you find when people have got money, the nasty, horrible side of people stops. This trying to claim for things that aren't real and all that stuff, and all that kind of goes up when people sort of run out of money because they're trying to get something for nothing. So I'd imagine that affects you, of course. It affects repairers as well. And that's something else that we are very sharp on, taking pictures before and after. This is, again, a car can come in dirty. They need to be cleaned. These are all labor things, one to protect you, one to protect the customers, to protect the insurer. Nobody wants to pay for it, but we'll run on those things again over one of the next up and coming episodes.
We've got tons we can go at.
Tons to go at. Like, where do you start?
Just stuff I'd go through would keep you busy for God knows how long, let alone the stuff you want to do as well. So
I know. It's
all
good.
I mean, what I would say to is, if there's any repairers out there, get in contact with Darren and just tell him what you'd like us to cover. What things are you not sure on? What things would you like to know? Would you like to know about business development, marketing, social media?
Great.
About Friendly Shed, or do you want to know more about a procurement side of it? Could it be where through Darren he can get contact, which will help you buy different products and secure bigger discounts? Just so get in contact, just have a chat and find out. Is there other things that either of us can do with you?
Of course, yeah. We're already working on. The phone is red hot, to be fair, all week and weekends, talking to people about. We have got big discount people coming up, gas providers, ancillary providers, part providers. These are all things that are going on in the background that will be coming out in the future, of course. But what we need, like you've just said, is we need repairers to get involved, because it's your industry, and that's what we're here to talk about and sort out. So please get in touch with us. We'll be on here. I'll be here every single Tuesday, of course, anyhow. But we want to hear from you to help us give you the content you want to hear.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Again, find the links to my website somewhere down here.
I'll put them down in the video.
Stick them in. And I'll give you a link to the thing that we should have discussed tonight that we didn't really get into much.
Yeah. I'll put that into there.
So you can read it as well.
Give me some bullets as well of what it is, the services that you can offer to repairers, and I'll put that in somewhere in the crash clinic as well, so they can always find that post and find out how you can help them.
Yeah, I'll just stick that in your StreamYard there. I'll do that one. And then...
Good night, Tezza.
Right.
Super. All right then, Tim. And thanks very much again, and we'll speak soon.
Good night. See you later.
Take care, my mate. All the best. And to everybody else, of course, thanks very much. Bam, bam, bam. Look at me, split in two. That's why. Is it? No, we'll sort it out in a second. Here we are. We'll get that brand out the way, back to a normal screen. So, guys and girls, sorry it's been quite a long one again. We are going to try and get these a bit shorter, but me and Tim do like a good old chinwag. Obviously, next week I'm going to bring you there's lots and lots of great new features coming. We've got loads of products for you. We've got loads of the stuff going on behind the scenes. Is quite immense, of course, as Crash Clinic grows. I need you guys to get involved more and more, of course, because that's what's going to help. Again, please let us know the content that you want to hear. Tell us anything you want to know about. I've been in business 33 years. So if there's anything you want to know about, if I don't know about it, I'll know somebody. I've started a business from scratch, of course, worked all the way up. I had all the approvals, everything you could think of, done some of the biggest contracts around. Anything you want to know about the body shop industry, let us know. That's what we're here to do. I'm here to create a bigger group where we can help each other. I'm going to start the matrix next week. I'm already typing it out at the moment. I'm hopefully going to finish that out tonight. And then anyone in the group I want to send that out to, I need you to fill it in and get it back to us. And then I'm going to give you the information back. It's there for us all to share. We want to know what are you charging for? I'm not. What am I charging for? You're not. So if we all fill the matrix in and send it back in, I'll compile reports that'll give us all information to help. And please keep filling in the polls, because the polls really do help me. I think one of them I've already finding out on, I'm asking questions about non-fault accidents and lots of little things that are just going to help me to come back to you guys with content that I think you'll want to see. So again, every Tuesday, please join us. Please help us with anything that you want to know about or would like to see. Next week, please join in if you want to know a little bit more about the matrix. We're hopefully going to be bringing out, as I say, anyone who joins the site, you can get some free marketing, some free SEO, People will be able to find your company because of Crash Clinic, because we're going to have a new section that we will be paying for SEO to be done about your business. So that saves you having the hassle of it. That's going to be a great tool to get you work. But I need to know a little bit more about your business, what it is that you do, you specialize in, what kind of vehicles you repair, etc. And you will be marketed across Google. So obviously, any letters that you're coming on after interesting facts, I've got letters here that people are sending in to me. I'm going to go over this one next week. I'm preparing this because I'm actually going to prepare what I call a response to something like this. If your customers get a letter like this, we as repairers should be forearmed with something to go back to undo this letter, because I think I'm going to read this out to you next week. There's 2 of them I might read out. There's a lot of information in there which I don't agree with. So I won't tell you who it is, of course. They will probably know it is because of the content of it, but I'm just going to tell you the content where a lot of these things aren't necessarily true. So we'll go over that next week. I'm going to give you a letter to respond to that. I'm going to start trying to get more and more content for you. It's going to help. Please, please, please keep joining up. Go and visit www.crashclinic.com. Sign up. Anybody who the idea of this is to get it funded, to get the websites cost a lot of money. I'd like to get a young lad in that's bringing you content daily as opposed to waiting for every Tuesday. We've got loads more we want to do on the site. Don't forget, you're only paying, I think it's $29.99 or $39.99 a month. Half of that's going to be going to your SEO, getting your business work. The rest of it's going to be going to do anything positive for us. I'd like to be doing, a big show once a year where we all go together and meet up, get to meet each other and talk about the industry. And there's just so much that I want to do, and I need you guys to get involved. It's your industry. Crash Clinic is your repairer network. It's just like LinkedIn. It's just like Facebook. This is the repairer network. So use it, share it, and don't forget the beauty of it is once you've joined, we can have a conversation that no one else can see. We can have a private one no one else can see. We can have a big group one that we can all chat and no one else can see. Brilliant. So no one's got to be worried about what we're talking about and how we're trying to fix this industry. That's what it's about. I'm not here to fight insurers. I'm here to try and fix the industry, help us get on better. Lots of great content coming. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next Tuesday, of course. Take care. Have a great week. And let's hope you have a positive, profitable week. We'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks again. Take care.